I saw the violin and the cymbals, the dulcimers and all that, yeah. Yeah. You see, that's a radio. I work for a radio.
Yeah. Dawson, did you know these icons up here? This was created by your grandpa, your Moshi.
Yeah.
And then this was your great-grandma's. Those three icons came from her house.
Really?
Uncle Jane gave them to the museum many years ago, but that was in, so your great-grandma had all three of those on the east wall of her house, and then they donated them to the museum like 20 years ago. So. So these little stoves here. These were coal, and they would heat up the room in the winter with the little coal heater. The other side over there had the stove, and that was used wood, and that would allow them to get a little bit of heat in the winter. As you can tell now, it's July. It's very cool in the house. They would say that these are cool in the summer and cooler in the winter. It didn't matter how much coal you put in the stove, it was always cold. It was very hard for our early settlers to heat in the house. And a lot of the settlers, when they first came, they came by boat from Romania. Everything that they owned came in a trunk like this. Mm-hmm. So they packed some seed, they packed some tools, and they came over on the boat, and then they came by ferries and paddle wheels, and they came out to the land that they were promised, this great land. In the one building we showed, they actually they had artists come and do nice paintings to try and encourage the people to come. And then they came and they seen bush and wild. A lot of them cried when they came because it was such a beautiful land, but nowhere, nothing. So then they had to go and they lived in the 4-day houses that we have outside. They would make little huts, and they would have to sleep. And at the middle of the night, the coyotes would be on the roof howling, and they would have scary,
Sure.
young children, and so they would start off with that, and they would get their quarter of land. Sometimes they would get it for $10 for the quarter, but they had to clear 10 acres of land in order to keep that. Mm-hmm. So if they didn't clear enough of the land to start farming, then they didn't get the possession of the quarter of land. Mm-hmm. So it was very hard. So they did a lot of work with horse and saws and axe, very physical, demanding, and everybody had to work. The children, the wives, everyone was just always trying to get everything to just to keep going, to survive in the winter.
Canadian region.
Yes, very tough. Oh, sorry. And then for lighting as well, they had the coal coal oil lanterns that they would light, and those you can smell a little bit of the coal oil, and that's they would use that for light when the sun went down, and it's very common. You'd have to have some ventilation because it would smoke, so it was very hard to breathe. So you had to open the window, but then you lost your heat.
Yeah, you have to make a compromise.
Yeah, so they had like this. They would hang on the wall. They had the lanterns as well that they could carry outside, but that was the only thing that they had for lighting. So. And wintertime, it's dark at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
So sometimes a little earlier even, and so it makes it very hard for the early settlers to read and to do.
Read and,
yeah, very hard to. If you've ever tried, very hard to read off of.
I tried at my my grandpa when I was child.
Yeah.
They will live in a village without electricity.
Yeah.
And they use the same thing for make the light.
So,
but it was just for a few days in the vacancy, not for all the.
Yeah. This is a buffalo coat that one of the families had donated, and this is what they would wear to keep warm in the winter. So very, very thick, very heavy.
Yeah. That's buffalo.
Yeah.
The beagle sabbatic.
Yeah, and they would use to keep warm, and but heavy, and
that's the cymbalum. How you?
Accordion.
Accordion.
Yeah. And the fiddle or violin.
Violin. Yeah.
These are, how is it? Oh, it's not too bad. So a lot of the family, like Dawson's great grandfather was quite the fiddle player.
Mm-hmm.
So they would come and gather and get together and play. I could do a quick Romanesca. And then I'll see how it sounds today. That's the old Romanesca that was part like for the New Year celebration. In the other building we have the costume set up from. They would do we call it the horse dance, and it's a traditional Romanian dance
in the winter holidays.
Yes, for after New Year's kind of. Yeah, and it was they kind of carried that custom on through to here as well. And so my uncles and quite a few of the local families, they would actually get together. They would dress up as the horse and the old man, the policeman, and the baba, and then they would go house to house and they would play and dance and
with some money for that.
They would get some money, sometimes some
food or
some drink, some food, and some money they would raise quite often for the church or something they would give back, and it was very fun. It was just to watch the people that would get together. It would be a room smaller than this sometimes, and there would be people just packed in the sides and hardly enough room for the guys to dance, but everybody just loved to be together, and it was a different time. It was really nice.
The winter holiday in Romanian village is the best part of the year.
The horse dance is so it's been a little while.
It's a little American style, but I recognize the play.
Yeah, and that's I learned from my great uncle Sandy, Sandy Dubitz, and he played the fiddle as well, and I learned by ear. He played it enough that I could
by ear and by your soul.
And yeah, and it just it just comes to you, and I was fortunate enough to play, like I said, with my uncles and things, so I kept it up and I listened. So yeah, it's nice. Music is very, very good.
Now it's your turn.
Oh, I don't know how to play that.
Fine, you can learn.
Yeah.
And that's the head of the
Head of the horse. Yeah, they have the full costume in the next building.
We have a lot of dance with the horses. Another dance is with a bear.
Yeah.
Another dance is with I don't know in English, not the sheep, the other animal, like the sheep but with goat.
Okay. Yeah.
Goat dance.
Yeah.
And it's a costume, and the mouth of the goat is 2 pieces of wood and clap.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Capra.
Capra, the goat, yeah.
Yeah.
The goat in Romania is capra.
Yeah, they said the horse dance too was to ward off the evil spirits.
And, sure.
To keep, and that's
And
why they would go
they
rent
play
the house.
in between the Christmas and the New Year.
Yeah.
They sing carols for the Jesus' birth in the Christmas, but the dance for the horses and the bear and the capra is older than Christianity. It's from ancestor time.
I have a funny story with the dulcimer or the cymbala. They would go and when they were doing the horse dance, they would also have a dulcimer or cymbala player, and I can't believe that this would be true, but they would go from house to house with the horse and the sleigh, and the guy that would play the cymbala, there's no room in the sleigh. So he threw the cymbala out the back of the sled and pulled it to behind with the rope in the case. And that's how they would go from, I don't know, that's what some of the relatives have said, but yeah, they said that's what they did back in the day. When you only had so much room, something had to go. So it was kind of funny.
Hey, did I lock that?
Oh, okay. So maybe we should go up there now?
Well, you can, when you go, just lock it up or whatever.
Okay. Nice. Here is actually the old Frederick House, and the Romanian Society. They got together. This was back in 1982, and they decided to make the museum. The Yuchik family owned the land. They donated the house, and they actually came, and you can see they did with the horse and the mud and the straw and manure. They would mix together and make it into a mud slurry mix, and then even the ladies, the men, the ladies, everyone would help, and they would literally just pick it up by the handful and throw it onto the wall and smooth it out, and that's how they recreated the house as you see it today. So they did this in 1982. And as you can see, we're quite a few years, over 40 years now, and it's still in great shape. So it does a lot for the work that they did back in the day. So nice when the community all came together. There's probably about 40-50 people that came and volunteered their time and their efforts to make this what it is today. And then these are actually the original doors to go into the church.
No way.
So we were able to rehang that.
Oh my God. You guys. This is amazing.
Oh.
You actually recreated the whole church. This is awesome. Wow.
So the
Did after the fire?
no, this is from the Harry Hill Church. That's close. It's falling down.
That was from the other
Yeah.
church that
Yeah.
we brought that to be here in the museum, but he actually put everything together to
Like a
create a new
new
church
church, yeah.
for by the time
So the chandelier is candles. So it used to be on a rope and pulley. So
Yeah.
they would lower the chandelier and then they would light all of the candles and then raise it back up. Same with the angel, the icon, Father Patrick, or they would be able to tell us the proper name. Same thing, it was on a pulley, they would lower it to light the candles. So the church itself, we didn't have the height. So these actually came from the church. The original wood paneling, and then the moldings, the altar doors, the cross at the top, everything came right from the church, and we did the best to recreate in the space that we have.
This is amazing.
The icons at the top are arranged the same way as they were found in the church. This is the cantor stand that they would use to do their readings during the services. So they would have their books that they would have, and then instead of having to move their books, they would just turn the table to their next book that they had to read from.
This is awesome.
So this church didn't have power. It was always just a small country church. So they had a coal stove in the back. The bell tower actually served as the storage for the coal. And they would come at 6 in the morning in the winter and they would light the coal stove for it would be warm. And it was in about that same location. So the windows, the stained glass windows are also from the north side of the church. And we put them back in the same order that they were in the church as well.
Honestly, this is incredible.
that's so.
I just thought it was gonna be a wall with some stuff on it, maybe the doors, like this is,
So this is
oh my God.
this isn't the altar itself, but this is the stand that was beside the altar. And this was in the altar in the Harry Hill Church, and the cross and the candle holders, that's all. Even the painting there, that was initially in the altar as well.
1955.
And as true, David Bizzoli confirmed that I had to move the hinges because normally the altar doors come, they swing inward. So the original color was a dark blue, and then the midsection was a lighter blue, and then the ceiling was a lighter blue yet. And that's very, very typical of the churches.
I don't know how you did this. I have no words. This is incredible, Clayton, like actually.
Have you seen it in
And they serve mass
few
here?
weeks?
This is,
I'm hoping to convince our Father Gorgie to do one service at least here.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm hoping. But this again, this was just a recreation. Did the best I could to preserve the church.
Because in the
history.
church for doing mass, you have to make a first, sanctified
Yes.
place.
Yeah.
Here is not ready to do it.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe Father George didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
But
you
he's
want to do a
believing.
blessing?
Yeah. So then even the banners, you can see that these are old. So we very carefully hauled these. It was very scary. But we brought them all. We do have the crosses as well that were.
How old was the Harry Hill Church, Clayton?
I'm not sure of the exact age. Father Patrick did send me the book.
Look at that. As you can tell, that is incredible. These are awesome.
And then they'll go with the stands for in front of the altar.
That
They
is-
have those, and they go on the back of that. And then one of these was behind the altar.
That I have no words. But actually, it's amazing, amazing.
So they would carry these when they would do like blessing of the graves. These would come outside with them, and the candle holders as well would make it outside for the service. But the cloth banners, even the ones at Boian, they never took outside just because they were
Heavy.
with the wind. It's too risky.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is amazing. Wow.
Yesterday you said in July or August the Bishop Cassian will be here.
Yes, on the
In
30th
2
of this
weeks.
month.
Okay,
in 2
so
weeks.
if your priest could not make the sanctification of this area, the Bishop Cassian could. He had the power because he's
Yeah.
Archbishop.
I don't know if they will because it is a museum.
It's not
but
credit, it's
it
a
won't
museum.
be. But we'll see maybe.
But maybe they want to use that
I think
for
it'd be
the
nice
during
to
the
During
time
the
during the time until
rebuilding
that
of-
bishop.
Ivan Cassian needs to see this, and I hope that he needs to see this. It's
What
incredible what you've done.
the
It's
church
incredible.
said about that?
Like
The idea
Yeah.
that maybe they can use that during the winter.
Well, in the winter might be hard because there's nothing insulated here.
Yeah, so that is
But we could, for a little while, they could
They
do
want
some
something
sort of
little,
system
they
here.
could, yeah. Yeah.
But it's
It's incredible. It is incredible. Actually.
Because you see,
What you've accomplished here,
in Romania, the
it's
Orthodox priests
Honestly.
want not to serve in a Catholic church. Okay, in Romania. Here, in Montreal, by example, the Orthodox church do their mass in the Catholic church by rent because they had no their
And
church.
even in North America, they made an agreement with the Orthodox Church and Catholic Church that they can marry people that are from two religions if the priest wants, so they can do that.
So it's possible.
Yeah.
One God till the end.
This is awesome.
So we made the altar last kind of free floating. We didn't know. I didn't feel right to close it in, so we did the best we could.
Yeah.
We made a bracket.
When did you do this?
This week.
This week.
This week.
This week he did all this. That's why this is, he just did this week.
Yeah.
And this because, so there was an old church by Harry Hill that was about to fall to the ground, wasn't being used at all. And this is what that church looked like. And Clayton took this project on and he wanted to bring it to our museum so we can preserve it. This was the church they used before they built the church on the hill here.
No, it was in
Was it?
addition to.
It was in addition to this one?
Yeah, it was in
Okay,
addition
yeah.
to. They had.
I think that was the first one, and the little one
This was
the,
first, and then they built that one after. And there was
the big one, the one that
Boian
was
was
one
first,
was
yeah.
Boian was first.
Yeah.
And
Boian
then
was first, and the little one was
became
second.
built after, and then it but now they turned over the Harry Hill Church has been back to the Boian group for many years, and because I remember my uncles and dad, they would go to maintain that churchyard as well. They would have to cut the spruce trees and do the tree trimmings and keep everything presentable there as well. So
and you know what? Because Ivan Cassian came, we signed with him to be able to take us. So we actually met with Ivan Cassian. He came down and we signed a document of lease. No, we already did meet with him. He was here. We signed the lease because the church had to allow us to bring all this in.
yeah,
We
so
couldn't
we
just go
made
take it.
yeah.
So then the diocese, like they had to sign. We have a lease to be able to hold all of these because this belongs to the church.
Yeah.
So they wanted, it was an 80-page document we made that had every artifact, every icon, the pews, everything was numbered.
Described.
And that's the only way that they would let us
take.
And they said it was, we signed a 10-year lease on everything that we had. And that was, they didn't want to go that long, but we said that we weren't going to we just wanted to preserve the space, and if we were going to do all of the work, we wanted to keep it as long as we can. So,
And I think you definitely have to bring Marcasian when he's here, because he signed for all of these weddings, right? Like he signed with us, so he should see and
what you did. And
yeah.
It's not only you keep
It's
it,
what we
but
did.
you did something beautiful here. Yeah.
It is it's incredible.
And then the bell tower from that church is also going to come here, and then we'll have it right beside as well. So then we'll be able to ring the bell. And that bell is it's not the one at Boian. It's a nice sounding bell. The one at Harry Hill Church, it's from Romania, cast in Romania, and it has such a nice sound. So that's the one we're going to have here.
I have no words. Do tears work? Can ghosts replace? This is not in a million years. Yeah.
That's this is the part here that we still have to read this here.
Was there? What?
Right? It's written on the wall.
He said, you have to read this here. Right.
We're waiting.
Yeah. That's fair. It's written on the wall.
Yeah,
Clayton was right. 1962.
That wasn't with the church. Those ones that came
From the museum. But you
that was-
made a lot of changes since. Yes.
The same thing.
And that room here is
This is a million times better, and oh wow, yeah.
So this is, we're going to set it up as the actual trading store. So Boian actually did have a trading store from 1914 all the way till 1928. So it was a basic, they would trade, they would
1914, hey?
Yeah.
As early as 1914, when he was invested in the store.
and then once the railway came and
Yeah.
moved to, the store moved to Harry Hill, and that was kind of these smaller communities, once the rail came,
They
were
moved,
were not as popular, so. But yeah, so this would they would do a little bit of trading for your general, like your wheats and grains and supplies like lanterns and things like that would be very common to hear. This is for the horse stands. This cabinet was the Lucic family that did the welding machine. This was used before for music supplies. So he was known to sell supplies all over. So people would mail him money, and he would have strings and supplies like rosin and things to fix your accordions and to fix. And he would sell out of his house, and he would mail it to the people, and they would write a letter to say what they would want, and he would mail the products.
Wow. So you give money with a letter in the mail, you take put the product and then send it back.
And then send back. And
That was trust. That was trust.
And then back in the day too, like even for him to, he had to go to the suppliers. Some of the suppliers were in Eastern Canada, and they would have the same thing. It wasn't cash accounts. Like you had to pay.
Yeah.
You know, so you had to send money. that there was no charging back in the day. There was no debit. There was you couldn't even phone.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of it was done by letter, and for him to, be a farm just north of here, close to the river, beautiful river valley picture from his house, he would send all over the province, and he would supply music.
The history here is unbelievable.
And we did have post office and telephone service. This actually came from the Chandru Museum. This was not far from us. And this would be one of the main base. So they would actually have to take and plug in. If they wanted to connect to different outlets, they would have to go and plug in. And then that would connect them to Vegerville, or that would connect them to
I know
Harryville.
everything in here because I give tours and people ask me.
It's very different time back then.
Yeah, you can go to
So
the
the post office here, it kind of shows. Sometimes they have a post office, and they would have a phone as well. So they would go to the post office, and they would have to make a phone call. So to make a phone call, they would have to pay whoever was running the post office, and then they would be able to make their call. So this would also be something that would typically be found in the trading store as well. It's the harness. There's one for a single horse for hooking up to behind the plow, and then this is there's actually two harnesses on this rack with the hames that go around the collars, and they would hook up, and you'd hook up to your team to pull your wagon. Quite often they take their grain to town with the wagon, and then after they sold their grain, they would buy their supplies and then go back home. So like a trip for us to go to town and get groceries, takes 10 minutes by car. It was a day trip. When you went to, when you go to haul your grain, it was a slow move, because it's hard that, horses had to work. The roads weren't very good. And so they planned their trips, that they rode with the wheat, and then they bought their supplies and came back home and went back to work.
There's one thing missing, Clayton. Very important thing.